What's up guys, hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. Before I start, I need to thank all of you for supporting this channel as we're now close to 1,000 subscribers and this would not have been possible without your support. So I truly appreciate every single one of you. Now, a lot has been happening with UFC 251, where we went from negotiation issues between Masvidal and Usman to the sudden announcement of Usman versus Burns. And then with Burns being forced out now, we're back at Masvidal versus Usman, which now looks to be finalized. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event is a classic grappler versus striker contest, and let's be honest, this is the matchup we wanted to see in the first place due to the bad blood and the build up to this fight that had already taken place. Without any disrespect to Gilbert Burns, who I really hope gets well soon, this is the matchup the fans were excited about. In this video, I'll be breaking down this fight from my perspective, and if you have any thoughts on this fight, please leave it down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this, please leave a like. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into the breakdown. So I'll be breaking down the fight essentially in two parts. The first will cover my opinion on Usman's approach to win, and the second part will be analysing Masvidal's approach to winning this fight. Now, Usman has had two phenomenal last fights where he essentially destroyed Tyron Woodley and had a slugfest and brutal contest with Colby Covington, which in my opinion wins the fight of the year for 2019. Now, we saw two very different Usmans in those two fights. Usman was a lot more focused on his grappling against Woodley and just mauled him for 5 rounds, whereas against Colby it was a stand-up war and we saw more of his striking. Now, in this contest, you would have to favour Usman's grappling over Masvidal's grappling. Kamaru Usman has very high level grappling, and similar to Khabib, he chooses to push his opponents against the cage and take them down and apply that ground and pound to wear out his opponents and make them feel threatened by his superior wrestling. But against Masvidal, this would be a preferred strategy to wrestle Masvidal to get him tired and then finish him off. This is something you have to consider, especially since Masvidal is taking a 5-round fight on a 6 days notice. A gangster move by the BMF champion, but it could cost him because Usman has been preparing for 5 rounds. Now, another attribute to Usman's game against Masvidal will be the cage work, of course, especially if he manages to take down Masvidal. Both Khabib and Usman do a tremendous job at the cage where they essentially suffocate their opponents with their body weight and constantly attack them with their ground and pound. This will be very exhaustive for Masvidal if he manages to find himself in that situation and might end up losing a lot of energy in the process trying to get back up. And we know Usman, he can keep this up for 5 rounds, which takes us to the next point of consideration, which will be Usman's stamina and pressure. Now, this is crucial to examine, especially since Usman has been training for 5 rounds, and with the amazing gas tank he possesses, as he showed against Woodley, Usman is not going to slow down one bit, and he will be constantly applying that forward pressure on Masvidal. And even if he fails a takedown, he will be back on the attack again, and because Jorge likes to throw those kicks, it is likely to open up takedown opportunities for Usman. But as you can see, that grappling will be instrumental in Kamaru Usman's game against Masvidal, because he wants to nullify that dangerous striking and needs to bring the fight where he's most comfortable, and that's on the ground. But by no means am I saying it will be easy to take down Masvidal, because Jorge actually has a very underrated ground game. He was able to hold his own against Damian Maia in the grappling department, and we've seen his sparring sessions on YouTube against Colby, where he made Colby work for those takedowns. Even though Colby ended up getting them, in the end, they weren't straightforward, and Masvidal has a tremendous amount of experience. So by no means will it be easy for Usman. However, given it is a 5-round fight that Masvidal is accepted on 5 days notice, grappling will be a very important factor here for Usman. But now, moving on to the BMF champion and the 2019 Fighter of the Year. Jorge Masvidal is as game as they come, and hence his nickname is Game Bread. Jorge has had an exceptional year of performances in 2019 and he earned the title shot in the eyes of the majority of the fans. With Jorge, you're getting toughness, 16 years of veteran experience and a very high fight IQ, which has allowed him to shut down his opponents. Starting with the striking, Masvidal might have the most crisp and precise striking in the welterweight division, maybe second only to Stephen Thompson, who is the wonder boy for a reason. In this fight, striking will be Masvidal's greatest strength, as in this department I think we can agree that Jorge trumps Usman. We saw that in the Colby fight, the amount of damage and the number of strikes that Colby was able to land on Usman. There were a few of those moments where Usman actually got rocked and genuinely hurt and looked wobbled. And there's a massive difference between Jorge's striking and Colby's striking. Masvidal is a lot more explosive and delivers a lot more power, and if he's able to capitalize on those openings, Masvidal can put Usman away. The knees will also be part of the game plan, I'm sure, just to keep Usman on his toes, because that KO of Ben Askren is sure to play a role in making Usman a bit more cautious. When you have a striker who has the level of striking that Masvidal does, Usman cannot afford to make any mistakes with those entries because Masvidal will hurt him. The next thing to discuss is the clinch work of Masvidal. Masvidal's Thai boxing is phenomenal. Even his fight stance is a traditional Thai stance. But Masvidal's game in the clinch is very impressive, as he's able to use his elbows, knees and liver shots to really damage. And with Usman, who's likely to be looking to push Jorge back against the cage, it can lead to those clinch positions at the cage where Masvidal is really scary, with short but powerful strikes that can deal a lot of damage, as we saw against the Nate Diaz fight. But the most important tool in Masvidal's arsenal is that 17 years of fight experience and his naturally high fight IQ. Jorge Masvidal is a true veteran in the game, and he's one of the very few fighters who have not taken much damage over a career that long. I mean, you would struggle to find fighters with such a long career to begin with, but Masvidal's ability to evade dangerous shots or get trapped on the ground comes from that incredible amount of fight experience. That will be a major factor in this fight, as the ability to find openings and staying calm under pressure that Usman will no doubt put can provide Masvidal with some opportunities to get that KO. However, it is important to consider again that Masvidal has only really been in 2 5-round fights. But regardless of how you see this fight going down, I think it's safe to say that every fight fan is excited for this. If Masvidal is able to pull this off on 6 days notice, then he's reached that legendary status that very few fighters are able to achieve in this sport. But it's also important to give credit to Usman for taking this fight on such a short notice against an incredibly dangerous fighter, and that just speaks volumes of Usman's mentality and confidence. But feel free to leave a comment below as to who you think wins this bout, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Thank you.